What happens when we have an absolute value inequality like this? What does this look like on the number line? When we say the absolute value of x is greater than 3, we mean the distance from x to 0 is more than 3. So 1, 2, 3, and further away than that. Okay. The distance from 3 to 0 is exactly 3, so 3 is out. Or the other way, 1, 2, 3, and farther than that. Again, the distance from 0 to negative 3 is exactly 3, so negative 3 is also out. What do we see then? This looks like the compound inequality. X is less than negative 3, or x is greater than 3. What do we think? Does this pattern hold if I have like absolute value 5x minus 3 is greater than 2? Well, that's saying the distance from 5x minus 3 to 0 is more than 2. How can that happen? Well, it can happen if 5x minus 3 is too far to the left, or if 5x minus 3 is too far to the right. Obviously not both. We can't be both too far to the left and too far to the right. We can only be one or the other. Well, now we can solve each of these separately. I get x is less than 1/5, or x is greater than 1. So yeah, this really seems to work out, doesn't it? In fact, we can do this in general. We can rewrite absolute value inequalities involving greater than or equal to as compound inequalities that use or, where we say either our expression is less than the opposite of the number or our expression is greater than the number itself. Right? And again, if it's just greater than, we rewrite using less than and greater than. If it's greater than or equal to, we rewrite using less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. And again, why? When we say an absolute value is greater than some number, we're saying our expression is far away from 0. That can happen either by being a large negative number or by being a large positive number. All right, I'm going to have you try one of these for the practice. Solve the inequality, the absolute value of 4 minus x is greater than 4. Pause the video and try this now. All right, well, we can rewrite this as an or inequality. Either 4 minus x is less than negative 4, or 4 minus x is greater than 4. Right, so what do we need to do to get x by itself? Over here we'll subtract 4. Negative x is less than negative 8. Now what do we have to do? We need to get rid of this negative sign by dividing both sides by negative 1. We'll get x is greater than positive 8. Over here we subtract 4. We get negative x is greater than 0. Dividing both sides by negative 1, we get x is less than 0. And we combine these with the word or. Now, these or inequalities that we get from solving an absolute value, they're actually kind of nice. The solutions to an absolute value or inequality, as long as an absolute value is greater than a positive number, they'll always be type 4. So the one where the picture was 2 arrows with a gap in between. We'll never be able to simplify the compound inequality we get for a solution. And in interval notation, it's always going to be two intervals with a gap between. So here I see x is less than 0 or x is greater than 8 are my two intervals with a gap between. But we'll always have an interval of this kind. If we don't, something went wrong.